I was talking to a student the other day during early move-in, and that individuals here will recognize him in a minute. And he was telling me when he pulled back into campus a couple of days ago, he was rounding the corner down by Dairy Queen, and he grabbed his steering wheel to brace for the pothole there, but it wasn't there. We've spent the summer cleaning up potholes, and I would like for the MSU grounds crew and the facility management folks, if you would all please stand. Let's thank them for the work that they did this summer. In addition, I'd like to welcome back all of you as faculty and staff, but we do have a number of individuals to recognize individually. Our Board of Regents members, Dr. Annie Adams, Mr. Craig Dennis, and Mr. Colby Burks. Would each of you please stand, and a round of applause for them in their service. That gentleman, the student who braced for the pothole, is here as well as other SGA leaders. Would Mr. Connor Tilford and Miss Emily Wiley, SGA leaders, please stand. Give them a round as well. If you served in the Faculty Senate or Staff Congress last year, would you please stand so we can congratulate you and thank you. And while we're stretching our legs, the Spirit Award today goes to Miss Tanya Jones. Would you stand up, Tanya? She's sporting the colors. And show them your fingernails. I told you I would do it. No, this number on the screen is not the number of potholes we filled this summer, but it was close. No, 132 is not how many millions we owe to the state pension system, but it's close. It's not even the number of cars that were backed up on the connector in 32 a week or two ago while they were paving, but it's close. Those of you that go home that way know what I mean. Rather, this number is something pretty simple and is historic. And it simply represents the number of years that education's taken place right here. Just a few steps out this door, come October, education started in a formalized higher ed fashion just right outside here. That's pretty powerful, at least it is to me. It's powerful because 132 years this university has been in the making, and it'll be around for another 132. It'll look a little different, but it will be around. Some of you joined us this week and you're in your 20s. We're glad to have you. Some of you joined us and you're in your 30s. Some of you have been around for a while and you're in your 40s, and so on. Bob Albert actually came in the other day and said he was 29 years old, but he planned to retire next summer. I'd like for Dr. Bob Albert to please stand, and let's congratulate him for the work that he's done as University Provost over the past couple of years. I tried to talk him into staying, but his wife sent me a dirty note about it and said no, he had to retire. But Bob, thank you. We appreciate all you've done. Regardless of where you are in your career, we're scattered all over the place. The point I'm moving toward is 132 years is larger than any of us. It's larger than anybody here. We're merely custodians. We're custodians for a couple of years, we're custodians for a generation, but ultimately, we've got to hand this university off to people who come after us, just like those folks, and Dr. Button's behind me, just like they did for us. We're merely ushers during this time. And we're charged with asking the questions of what our successors will think about our term here. Will they look back and say, did they do the right thing? Us, did we do the right thing? Will they look back and say, did they recruit like they should? Will they look back and say, did they push for student success? just like they did many years ago? I think the answer is yes for me, and I hope it is for you. I've said before, and I'll continually say again, and continually say over and over, our values and our people. And even under strained economic times in higher ed, in a very changing environment for higher ed, our power's in our people, and that's faculty, and that's staff, and that's our students. It's a powerful one in the making that's really been painted over the past 132 years. Our quest is simple. We want to be a small to medium-sized university with good, steady growth. We want to be known for our reputation. We want to be wrapped around student success, and we want to be known for our affordability. And ultimately, we want to make sure we have 10,000 students with 10,000 successes. And I think we can do it. We're making progress. We look at all these metrics that we chart. It's not for the sake of it. We're making good progress in many areas. I don't want to jinx us about enrollment, so we'll hold that one maybe for another time. But it looks okay for fall, at least right now. But we still have to go through drop ad. But if recruitment and retention is not in your vocabulary, it needs to be in our daily conversations. New student enrollment looks okay, and I'd like to thank, and would you give a round of applause for our enrollment management folks who work hard all through the year to get them here in just a few days. Our fall-to-fall retention from freshmen to sophomores has been trending upwards year over year, and many folks are doing a great job in that accord. Our URM retention rate is getting stronger yearly, and many other performance categories are moving very good. Those categories now mean money to us in the state performance funding system. But we still have work to do, and we can do it. Speaking of affordability in the university, I'd like to take a moment to thank all those in university advancement led by Jim Shaw for the work that they're doing around our student campaign for scholarships. Roughly a year or so ago, we set forth a goal of raising $15 million quickly for student scholarships over the course of 3 years. We're about a year or so in, and I think we're a little bit north of $7 million. Would you give our development folks a round of applause for the work that they've done? Putting money aside for a minute and just talking about good things that are happening on campus, there is strength here. And many of you in your units are doing great jobs, and as a call out to a couple, our Craft Academy was named to the top list of high schools in the United States, not in Kentucky, in the United States. Our nursing program has hit it out of the ballpark, moving to second best RN to BSN program in the state, up from number 5 just a year or so ago. Tremendous, tremendous movement in that program. Our EDD program was named number 19 in the U.S. in category of some online rankings. We continue to be veteran friendly. Our graphic design program carries some strong notability. And a big kudos to our Department of Mathematics faculty and staff who raised the percent of students completing their Gateway Mathematics course significantly in 1 year. Would you give all those individuals a round of applause? There are many others. We got every single one of our students in the veterinary school that applied last year. I don't know if anyone else in the state can make that claim. Our professional school entry rates are strong. We've got many others doing good things. Michelle Barber and her shop do a wonderful job on retention and advising for us. Tim Hare and others are expanding their work into drones and embedding that in our student curriculum. Tony Shaw individually, he's the guy I see out there in the rain, snow, sleet, or shine, directing traffic for big events. John Flavel and the folks in journalism are pushing students out all over the region and beyond in internship and summer work opportunities in their area. The list goes on and on and on. We have great people doing great things. wonderful people doing wonderful things for our students. And in my opinion, the cup's half full. The cup is half full. If you want to look at a sneak peek of what our future might look like, just read the strategic plan. About 80 of you or so worked on it. One of the broadest strategic plans as far as inclusion that I've had a part of being. It's not going to sit on a shelf. It's actually a working, living document that we're implementing. And we've been working our way through little segments of it all last year. We have some that we'll work our way through this year. Some of them are comfortable and easy, and some of them are uncomfortable and hard. But we're going to do it. From a 50,000 foot level, we'll continue to push for growth. Everyone should be talking about recruiting, and to help us, just yesterday, we added a number of Eagle outreach teams and raised our number of teams campus-wide that go out into the region to 28 teams, up a couple of years ago from 0. Just in a couple of years, we have 28 teams of 3 and 4 people going out to area high schools, trying to help us recruit and pull the region toward us, as well as outside the region. Our provost office is going to start a review of our dual credit programs. They're strong and doing well, but we need to refine and hone a couple of those. Provost Albert and Dr. O'Brien talked a little bit about our QEP. And I'm excited about it because I think it is good for our students. High impact practices are very powerful for student retention and graduation. They also add value when our students graduate and they enter the workforce. And whether they're immersed in internships, service learning, undergraduate research, study abroad, the list goes on. We also want students involved in general, and we've pushed this very, very hard as we talk to student groups, as we talk to faculty and staff groups. We want them involved with work study. We increased the numbers of work study on campus last year, and we've held that number relatively steady for this year. We want them involved in athletics. We want them involved in Greek life. We want them in the band. We want them in honor societies, and the list goes on. Our students must be involved. And I hope that you and your colleges and programs will push students and create activities and foster their inclusion in that accord. We must, in an uncomfortable way sometimes, continue to move money toward our core mission. We have to for performance funding. There is no other way. And that core mission is something that we'll push money towards over a couple of years because the performance funding model will allow nothing else. Our commitment has been to preserving the people that are on campus right now. If you're here and doing a good job, there's a commitment to keep you here. But if you leave, we evaluate every position that leaves to see if we need that for budgetary savings or if we need to move it somewhere else. But I want you to know the commitment is, if you are here, we want to keep you here. We also have to look at reducing our infrastructure. We have to do that in order to keep our money and our people and channeled toward our students. And methodically over time, we'll be modifying and taking down buildings, not in a fast pace, but an evaluation of the structure, and do we need to keep it? We've got to keep our money and our people. We also have to work on a very large gaping hole for the university, probably one of the largest ones that is identified, and that is refilling a number of assistant professor positions. Over the course of time, and mainly due to budgetary issues, that population on campus has been hollowed out significantly, and for the long-term sustainability of our academy, we have to do some work in that area. Scholarships will remain a priority and the priority going forward, as well as an impending reaffirmation / reaccreditation, not a small one. The big 10-year reaccreditation is looming here in 12 to 18 months. And that effort is being led by Jill Ratliff and a number of others who are doing really good work. Our reputation's important. We've got a great reputation, but we'll be pushing that conversation around a number of things. How do we look in certain rankings? How does our marketing folks push things out to try to shape where we want to go in the future? I mentioned before, we want to be known for student success. Bigger's not always better. We want to have more students. Better is always better, and I know that we can get better. In a recent conversation with a number of you, you've had some great ideas. We've soaked them up. And as we begin this school year, we'll be looking at creating a number of teams along with faculty, senate, staff, Congress, SGA, and others around some efficiency measures. Efficiency in workflow, efficiency in how we do things, not an attempt to try to collapse positions, but in an attempt to make life a little bit easier as we try to make our operations run smoothly. We'll be looking at how we onboard people. Can we do it better? Can we do it faster? Can we be more efficient? Be looking at how to utilize ADUC a little bit better now that we have the baseline ready. Can we ramp it up even more? How can we recruit more students? I mentioned 28 teams will hit the road here in just a month or two. How can we speed up graduate school admittance? And the list goes on and on and on. We have to ask the questions, not out of criticism, but for getting continuously better. My point is simple. I think we have mountains of opportunity here. We've come a long way. Our metrics are trending up. Good people doing good things. We have to ignore what goes on that we cannot take part in the conversation on at a higher level, but we have to accept the changes that are going on nationally, not just here in the state, but nationally in higher education, and mold and adapt, and I know we can do it. We have mountains of opportunity. Let me say to each one of you just simply thank you. I know it's been tough over the past few years. It's been tough everywhere. It's my 23rd, I think, year in higher ed in Kentucky, and it has been tough the past 10 or 11 years. But we'll be resilient and we'll move on. I bet they were creative 132 years ago. And we're going to have to be creative this year and next year and next year and next year. I hope that you'll join me in using this really as the end of summer as we know it and the beginning of another wonderful school year. I get excited at the beginning of every school year, and I have for many years. It's a time when we welcome students back to campus. It's a time that we celebrate, and it's a time that we do what we do best. And I know you'll join with me in doing that.